Hi, hello, good day. My name is Sanja Milosavljević, and I'm going to be your host for today. This is the Mondopreneur podcast, and we are talking about how COVID changed our lives and how COVID influenced business, small business or medium-sized business owners in the world. Today, my guest is going to be a friend of mine. Her name is Eszter, and she comes from Hungary. She lives in Budapest, and she's going to share with us her story about her business and life in Budapest or in Hungary these days. So, hi Eszter, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Everything is just cool. It's summer.
It's summer, yes. So, can you tell us something about yourself? We've known each other for more than a year now. We met in the States in 2019. But can you tell us something about yourself? What do you do? How does your ordinary day look like, and something about your educational background and something like that?
Okay, so originally I am a sociologist, but I've never worked as a sociologist. My career it's began in the public administration, and then I used to work for a big multinational company. But after the born of my second son, who was born with epilepsy, I needed to have a change in my career. So I started to do my own business, and I am an owner of a small social enterprise, which is focusing on teaching everyone how to play together with those kids who have got who has got problems, behavioral problems, or even disabilities or social problems. So we are teaching everyone how to play together. I have two kids. The older one is 12. He's a typical boy. He's enjoying his summer holiday with his grandmother right now. And the smaller one, as I mentioned, he was born with epilepsy. He has got 2 brain surgery, and now he's okay. He's 10 years old, and he's at home with us, with my husband. I think he's finished his summer holiday for this year, and he's waiting for the school begins. The summer holiday unfortunately ended also for us because on Sunday we came back from Balaton, which is the huge lake in Hungary, the Hungarian Ocean, and we came home from Balaton, and that was the last moment of our summer. Since Monday, I am working. I have to work. Yeah, That's it.
So when you say that your life changed when your son was born with epilepsy, did COVID change you? I mean, having a boy with epilepsy isn't maybe that huge as something like a breakout of the virus. So how did you adapt it to this change? Is it that terrible thing for you, or is change something that is normal for you?
Well, the most difficult thing was the homeschooling. The school was locked down in the middle of March, so we needed to homeschooling both of them actually for more than two months. And with the older one, it was not a problem because he was reading, he was doing his homework, he was doing his stuff, his thing. Actually, I haven't seen him for days because he was in his room. But with the smaller one, it was really, really difficult. I mean, we can say lucky considering compared to other Hungarian schools, because we had online learning. I mean, I am really happy that our school, where my kids are learning, they immediately prepared the online guidance, and they started to use Zoom. Even those teachers who before didn't want to hear about internet, about using the internet as a teaching tool, they immediately they were so flexible that they started to use Zoom as every day, as normal way. So I consider myself lucky, but still, we needed to sit with the younger one, and we needed to sit with him all day and tell him what to do and how to do. So it was very frustrating. Even to see them that they are frustrated because they didn't have any companion, just us. I mean, they didn't meet with anyone. They were at home. My youngest one started. I mean, it was suffering him psychologically, because I saw that he's starting to thinking. I don't know this word is English. So his eyes is starting to shaking, which is a kind of a symbol. It's a signal of not being well, because he was isolated. And if you're talking about differently able kids, or those kids who are not typical, who are atypical, it doesn't matter what is the reason of their atypical behavior, because of their social problem or because of their disability or whatever. But this isolation, it was even harder for them comparing to those who have got no problem. I mean, I see that my older one has that problem not to see anyone, but I think he was able to cope with the situation much better than his brother, who is younger, but still for him it was very, very difficult, this isolation. And I think that I can tell it, maybe those who have got the same kids as I have, that seeing my kids, and this was the hardest thing for me, that for 24 hours, I just realized in 24 hours, I had to see that my son is different than others. I mean, in normal weekdays, he's in school. I mean, I pick up him at 4:00, so I spend time with him. I know that he's different than the other one. But I mean, it was just punching into your face 24 hours that he's different than others, because I needed to sit down with him and teaching him and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm. So Art, there is a small controversy here in Serbia regarding the start of the school year, which is in 2 weeks from now. So are the kids from Hungary, are they returning to school
Yes.
at the beginning? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So no more. So no more homeschooling, no more online teaching.
Well, we are hearing rumors that maybe from the middle of September or from the middle of October, the school will lock down again, and there will be online solution. But now we had the letters from the schoolmaster. We are preparing that even they are going to do some camping, which was delayed because of the COVID. But now we are preparing for the school years as nothing happened. I mean, we are scared that we need to homeschooling again, which will be terrible. And even with the bad weather, it will be worse than during the springtime, because at least we spend hours outside on the street. But when it's a winter, it will be difficult. But now everyone is behaving as nothing has ever happened. We are going back to school. The kids are going back to schools. There are some rules from the ministry which the school need to follow, but the rules it's impossible to follow the rules. I mean, the rules was written from somebody who've never been in a Hungarian school. I mean, the expectations from the ministry, it looks like that they've never seen a school from inside. So if I read in the Facebook from parents group, everyone is upset. Even the teachers group, everyone is upset, because these are they cannot follow the rules. That's for sure. So I don't know what is going to happen actually. But yes, in 2 weeks time, or no, 1 week actually, the school will be 1.5 weeks, the school will begin.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So are you comfortable with sending your boys to school?
You see that I feel that this is like we are Don Quixote, who is fighting with the wind.
I know windmills. I know.
You can protect. I mean, I am using the public transport. I am meeting with people. You can't avoid it. If it has to happen, it has to happen. I mean, I don't want to live lockdown in my own home. I want to meet with my friends, with my family. So yeah, there is a risk, I know, but that's for sure that I don't want homeschooling my kids anymore, because that is not a good solution. I mean, if I have to, I will, but I don't want to.
So did you have a complete lockdown, total lockdown? Like in Serbia, during the month of May, we were locked down for 4 days in a row, and every weekend and every day from 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. How was in Budapest or in Hungary?
Officially, it was a lockdown, but practically, it wasn't a lockdown.
Really?
So as soon as the weather started to begin very good, people were outside of the street. No one checked where do you go, or at least officially, it was said that you can leave your home if you go to work. But no one ever asked, what are we doing at the street? I mean, I do remember that in May, when really the weather was very good, and we went to have a walk with my friends, and it was full of people. Everyone was outside. And no one checked, actually. Nights, no one is checking if you are wearing the mask. No one is checking it. So it's officially there was a lockdown. Officially there are rules, but no one is taking care.
No one is following. So do you wear a mask? What are the precaution measures? Like in Serbia, we are wearing masks. We wash our hands more often. We practice social distancing. But is it something different in Hungary?
No, I am not practicing social distancing, but yes, we do wash hands and wearing masks. Not everybody, although in Budapest. I don't know what's about the countryside, but in Budapest, not everybody is wearing masks, especially not in the public transport. When I go shopping, most of the people are wearing masks. That's for sure, because everyone can be punished. The employers who are working in the shop and the customers who are going to the shop, they can be punished. I mean, I never heard anyone who was punished. But probably that's why people are wearing masks. But in the public transport, less and less people are wearing masks. So the new mayor of Budapest, he started to have new rules regarding wearing masks in the public transport, because he realized that it's not following the rules, which was written in March or in April or whenever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that people are basically tired because we spent too long time in quarantines or following the rules. So I think people are just a bit tired of and not seeing any results.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about women in business in Hungary? I've read a research MasterCard did, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and it says that only less than 30% of small-scale businesses are run or led by women. Did anything change in the meantime?
Well, I don't know the precise number, maybe a bit higher, but the situation is not that better. I mean, we are living in I wouldn't say it's a patriarchal society, but still there is a gender bias, and there is huge difference between women and men. And this is coming from the communication from the government.
Really? In what terms? When you say there is a huge difference between women and men, in what terms?
If you hear from the government that the woman places in the kitchen, then you cannot expect anything from the workplaces and so. It is often if you go to a job interview, they are asking you, when are you going to have a baby, which is not okay. I mean, in the 21st century, it's not okay to ask me this question, but this is still the practice. Not everywhere, but it's still okay because and this you see, if this kind of communication is coming from the government, you can accept from the workplaces not to ask the same questions or not to behave as the same. And there is still, we have the glass ceiling. Women are earning less money than men. If you see the Hungarian government, there is no any woman in the Hungarian in the Hungarian government, only men. So it's this is telling something how this country is thinking about women.
Mm-hmm. But are there any women in decision-making positions? They don't have to be in the government, but
yes.
You have women on some higher top-level management or something like that?
There are some CEOs from big multinational companies. Even I know some small-scaling companies who have that women-owned. So the women are working there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is true. But so maybe the numbers are higher than 4 years ago, but I wouldn't say that the situation is so good. So there is place for improvement regarding women enterprises or women entrepreneurship. And I am talking to many coaches who are coaching women, and they always say that, I mean, I hear the fear why a woman is not able to run her own enterprise. It's not okay to be the breadwinner in the Hungarian society, and maybe this is a stigmatization. I can say that because not every Hungarian family is thinking in the same way. But I mean, I heard from many women that it's not okay to be the breadwinner in a family.
I know the funny thing is the title of that research I read is actually Women in Business and Balancing Life and Career, with the emphasis on how can they manage having their families and babies or whatever and running their own businesses. So maybe that's why. It's similar here. We also have a smaller percent of women running or leading their businesses. Where do you think, you said there is a place for improvement. Where do you see improvement? What can we do as a society, or what can we do as women?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said there is a place for improvement. Where do you see improvement? What can be improved?
For example, and not talking about the small scale businesses, but for example, at the multinational company level, like there is no work-life balance, there is no flexible work, there is no, okay, now it's distance working, probably it will change because of the COVID. But before that, it was unimaginable that someone can work from home. Or if you are working in 4 hours in flexible job or atypical working hours, then your salary is so small that it's not a good business anymore to work in 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours. For example, that's the reason I am not able to go back to work for a multinational company, because there is no freedom. I mean, I cannot go and pick up my kids because the working hours from 9 till 5. If I want to earn decent money, that's the biggest problem. That there is no atypical working places. There were so many initiatives to change this, but actually nothing has happened because I don't know, multinational companies, and not everyone. This is I know it's again a stigma, but most of them, it's not trusting to their own people, and it's the woman the woman the one who has to manage to pick up the kids, and the woman and it's okay if a woman is not earning the same money for a half-time job as a man. So it's difficult. And in small enterprises, I think it has to change. How do we think about when a woman is the breadwinner? Because I think this is the biggest obstacle if you're talking about running a small business. And the other one is that it is still so typical that the woman, the one who has got double shift. This means that I am the one who is picking up the kids, and I am not the only one who is picking up the kids after school, after kindergarten, after nursery school. Men are always working or doing their business. Okay, not everybody, but this is so typical. And it's it's very difficult to be an entrepreneur when you have to finish at 4:00 and run to the kid, pick him and pick her up, and so on and so on. So this is again another big obstacle to raise these numbers. Maybe I was reading articles that those who doesn't have small kids, they are more flexible in order to have their own enterprises, and so maybe this segment is going to grow. I mean, the older one, 50 plus years or something like that. When you don't have small kids, it is a bit easier, because that's true that to paying a nanny is very expensive. So then you are working just to paying the nanny. The school are closing at 4:00, the kindergarten closing at I don't know what time. So it's not easy to manage if you have kids and you want to be a successful entrepreneur.
I know. Can you tell us something about this spring? where were you? Do you remember where were you when you heard about the COVID? And what was the attitude of your media towards this new mysterious virus? Did you have that opposite attitudes or opposite signals from the media, how to behave, what to do, what is going to happen?
It's a very tricky question because it was not COVID yet, but my kids were not allowed to go to school because we came home from Greece. It was at the beginning of March. And the schoolmaster said that they cannot go to school for 2 years. So, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to kill myself because this is killer. That everybody in the school, not even friends, and they are at home. And then I heard rumors from municipalities that they were going to lock down schools, but nothing has happened. And how the Hungarian government is working, that the pressure was so big, that the pressure was so high that they needed to lock down schools. So that happened in the middle of March or something like that because of the huge pressure they needed to lock down schools. And then they started to make interventions, wearing masks, limiting the opening hours of the shops. After every day something has changed. And regarding the media, there is I think only one or two press we are reading because that's what we believe, and it's just in the bracket that we don't believe in government, what the government is saying. So whatever the government is saying, I don't believe it. And many of those who are my friends or who had the same belief as I have, we don't believe in the Hungarian government. Whatever they say about the virus, whatever they say about the numbers, whatever they say about how to protect ourselves, we don't believe them. So that's not so easy. And that's why we were getting information from foreign press because we saw that is more reliable and we can trust in them. And there are two or three sources where we can get information, Hungarian sources. And that was okay. That was quite correct, how to follow and what to do. And the other funny thing is that I have friends in the States. The situation is worse. And they had time to read many, many articles and many, many researches. And we had that Zoom meeting with my friends every Saturday, where we get the new information about how to protect yourself. What is the best mask to wear, FPP2 or FFP3? Where can you buy it? And so on. So we started to manage, and maybe every other communities were the same, but we started to distribute the information amongst us. Who read what? Where can you have what? How do you manage it, and so on and so on. So it's not the government who helped us, but we helped ourselves to figure out what to believe and how to believe and how to be prepared for the COVID. And this was funny that my friend started to. No, actually not my friend, but we read it and we heard it that people are starting to buy food. So it was plural. We started to buy food as well. I mean, we ordered. We still have so many rices and cans. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but we have it because this was a hysterical step. But everyone started to buy foods, and we were afraid that there won't be food anymore in the shops. So it was this is how I remember that we ordered foods and toilet papers and so on.
Yeah, it was the same.
As we did it.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because it was exactly the same in Serbia. People went to supermarkets to buy toilet paper and some non-perishable goods like the cans of fish or flour or rice or whatever. So it's the same. But I think it's based on fear. When you fear for yourself and your life, then you go and just hunt for food, go to buy food. And if you have an extra food, you can always donate to homeless people or so. That's one thing that you can do. Okay, thank you. Can you tell us something about the social entrepreneurship? It's very interesting for us in Serbia. It's something that is starting to develop here. And I know that you run your company for some years now. Can you tell us something? What is social? What does the word social entrepreneurship means for you, how you handle things. Do you have any kind of regulatory obstacles? Can you just, I don't know, start your business and have employees that are with disabilities, or choose some vulnerable group of people to work with? How's the situation in Hungary, and how's the situation with your company?
Okay. So legally in Hungary, the social entrepreneurship as such is not exist. We have LTD, which is not social entrepreneurship. We have the NGO sector, which is, again, can be a social entrepreneurship something, but it's not that's what I'm doing. And we have some other form which has to do something with NGOs, but plus some extra. But again, that's not an LTD. That's not a social entrepreneurship. We have an association now where we've started to change the regulation, that at least there should be some LTD which has a form of social entrepreneurship. It doesn't mean, I mean, in England, I know that there are several types of social entrepreneurship, but in Hungary, legally, that just not exists. And even when the government is thinking about social entrepreneurship, or as you said, that having disabled people employ them and so on, this is the only thing the Hungarian government is thinking about. So when you make the connection between social entrepreneurship, then this means that you are employing people with disability. This is how the Hungarian government is thinking, which is very sad, because it's much more, it's much bigger, it's and so on. So I know many small enterprises who consider themselves social enterprises, and it's so strange that I know many NGO who doesn't consider themselves as a social enterprise. So I think they are not prepared, or they did not heard about the word, or that I have my own opinion about the Hungarian non-profit sector, but I never heard any NGO or just very few who says that, okay, I am a social entrepreneur. And if you check everyone is using a different termination of social entrepreneurship, but like Ashoka, in the member of Ashoka, many of them is coming from the NGO sector. This is what they call social entrepreneurship. But in Hungary, in baby steps. I have to say that something is happening, but in baby steps.
So was it hard for you? Was it hard for you at the beginning to try to find your spot, or try to promote your company, or try to get to some funds? What was the situation then?
No, so is it still difficult? Because when I'm saying that I'm a social entrepreneur, no one understands. So you are coming from an NGO sector. No, thank you. I am not a civil organization. No, I am living from the market. So it's very difficult for them to understand, many of them to understand what does this mean. There is a discussion about it, and something is happening, but still all the time I need to explain that what is the difference between an NGO and my business, that I am living from the market, not just because I am applying for a fund, of course, because from the market I am unable to live. But still, it is still, I need to educate people that what is the difference between an NGO and between a social entrepreneur. And even the other thing is, and I am reading it from many places, that impact is starting to we're starting to talk about impact. That whatever we do, we are measuring it, we are talking about it, and even NGOs, the civic organizations, started to use the word impact. I don't know how do they measure or what do they do with this impact thing, but at least they started to use the word impact, which is something. And even from multinational companies, they started to use the word impact. That they just not that donate money, but they want to measure how is it impacted, those who they give the money. But it's very few people who understand what is impact, what is social entrepreneurship, and especially that I have an LTD and not an NGO, so it's very difficult to explain. But I am not giving up, because we need to educate people. So we need to explain them that what is the difference between the two things. That yes, I am living from the market, and still I am doing things for which is, which has impact on the society on the long run.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us something more about your business? I know what you do. I know what your product is, but can you tell us something more about it?
Okay, so as I told us at the beginning, we are the focus, or our mission is to teach everyone how to play together. It means that we are designing equipment
Mm-hmm.
that everybody, regarding of their ability or ages, can play together. This means that if you go anywhere, but even in Serbia, even in anywhere else in Europe, if you go out to a playground, there is no way that a small physically challenged kids can be able to play together with his her non-disabled peers, because there is no equipment which allowing them to playing together. So this is one focus, that we are focusing on playground, and we are focusing on playground to change the attitude of the decision maker, that instead of having this absolutely not unique playground equipment, but to challenge them to choose equipment where they can really play together, where they can feel what does it mean playing together, where they can role playing as, and so on. So this is one part of the business. The other part is that we are teaching nursery school teachers, preschool teachers, elementary school teachers, how they can involve kids with behavioral difficulties, with disabilities into the fun. Because although we are talking about inclusion, we are talking about integration, but if we are checking it, or if we are seeing it in a closer perspective, it is not inclusion. This is not integration, what is happening in Hungary. So this is what we are teaching, that what does it mean real inclusion? How you have to, dear teacher, behave a little bit different in order to really support these kids who has got behavioral issues, who need to talk a bit slower, because it's not going to understand what you are saying. So we are delivering training where we really tell them, or we teach them practical ideas. We are giving them practical ideas how they can involve these kids. And now we are starting to focusing on kids with trauma, those who are coming from socially or disadvantaged communities. This is what we call, they have trauma because they are hungry, they are coming from poverty, and we started to deliver development packages for these kids, that we are teaching the local helpers, the local educators, how they can develop these kids in order to be prepared for school, and especially after COVID. So in summarize, that we are dealing with kids who has got trauma, who has got behavioral issues, or who are disabled, and we teach the adults around them that how they can involve them into the everyday activity, including play, including learning, everything.
Mm-hmm. Nice, good job, good work. Can you get funds from the bank? Can you get a loan from the bank if you're a social enterprise?
Eszter Bank has got a social banking something, but the numbers, once I tried to apply for a loan, but my numbers were not sexy enough. So I didn't receive the social, because at the end of the day they are just bankers, so at the end of the day, I didn't receive the loan. So now we are really getting money from the market, because we are selling this training for municipalities and for kindergartens and for elementary schools, and then also we are applying for funds, because in a gypsy community they are not able to pay for these development packages. So in this case, we are applying for funds. We are working together with the Lego Foundation, with Open Society Foundation, and we are looking for other partners with whom we can work together. And on the long run, we would like to scale up in the West Balkan, because there the situation is even worse than in Hungary. And we really want to help the teachers to show them how they can start to start the intervention in early childhood education or early childhood development.
So I hope this podcast will maybe help, because I know that some people from our local community is going to listen to this. So I hope that someone who can make a decision is going to hear your call. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. I remember when you told us, when we met last year, when you told us what do you do and what your company was, I was even not quite sure what a social enterprise is. Now I know much more about it. I read something about it, and I think it's kind of a, I don't want to say a future, but it's a good business model, because you're actually making a pact between good thing, contributing to society, and earning some decent money.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
actually that this is the future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because it's maybe COVID will be the thing which is going to change the decision makers, which is going to change those who are sitting in a bunch of money, that this is not going to go like this. I mean, that we really focus for those who have nothing. I mean, now that we are working with underserved communities, it is really depressing how they live their everyday life. I mean, I knew this because I studied sociology and I was working with gypsy kids. But now that I am a mother and I have 2 kids, I am really observing this thing in a completely different eyes. So I think that social entrepreneurship is the future. I mean, we need to change.
I know. We really need to change. Maybe this COVID situation is something that is going to push us towards the change.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you one more thing before we say goodbye, because it's almost the end of our conversation. How did your government help businesses to survive this lockdown period? Because in Serbia, things stopped for almost 2 months, and we all had problems with cash flow, with, I don't know, things like you have to pay for a rental, you have to pay your employees, especially if you having a hard time finding a good employee, you want to keep that person in your company as a part of a team. So we got some incentives from the government. What was the situation in Hungary? Did you get any help? Do you have any information? No?
No, but I read in the newspaper, and I don't know what just happened, that they wanted to help somehow, but it was good only for the big multinational companies, which I don't understand, because they don't have enough money. I mean, they don't have savings, then if something is not going okay within that company. But for us, in my case, nothing has happened. And my husband has got business in Greece as well. He has got an LTD, and he received funds from the Greece government, but he doesn't receive funds from the Hungarian government, although he has got a legitimate business in Hungary as well. And myself, I received nothing. Not even, I know that the non-profit sector, they didn't receive anything. So every tap was closed. And I'm quite sure that the small enterprises, many of them did not survive this period because they didn't receive any help.
That is something very similar to situation in Serbia. We got some incentives. We got some. They postponed the taxes we have to pay, but still that's not a solution to a problem. It's just postponing the problem for some future time.
Yeah, postponing happens. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's
it's going to happen to somebody else. It's not going to happen to me or you. Yeah. Okay, so for the end, can you what would be your message? What would you say to people in Serbia and people all around the world
regarding COVID, or
regarding COVID, regarding how your life changed, and regarding the future of what is the new business model? What is the new model that is sustainable?
Actually, this is what I learned during COVID, and maybe this is my message, that COVID forced me to change some part of my previous business model, because I know that everything is now but online. but I was hesitating to use some online solution, because this is not a business we are doing. It's an intimate thing, to talk about difficulties and so on. But now we are forced to do some online thing. So I can say that I am grateful for COVID, that I was forced to really look for a solution for online, which is giving opportunities to scale up, which is giving opportunity to have a bigger impact. And my message is that okay, COVID is not a good thing, but at least we have a roof, we have food, and we have everything. But still, we need to look for the positive thing if we can find it. I mean, I found it. That's the only thing that at least I was forced. This is the only thing I found it. And maybe that is the message that okay, it's bad, it's really bad, but still we need to focus on how we can survive and what are the small elements we can see that is positive. I mean, I was really happy that I didn't have to wake up very early. This was another advantage of COVID, that I was able to sleep longer because we didn't have to catch the school bus. So these two advantages I found COVID, the online solution, and that I didn't have to wake up early. So maybe, this can be a message that you can sleep longer when COVID is happening, and then you don't have to go to work.
Okay, thank you, Eszter, so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for accepting to participate in this project of ours. So
thank you for inviting me.
No, you're really welcome, because I know that you have so many things to say and you have so many things to share with the world and the people, especially here in Serbia, because we are basically a region. We are not that far away. So thank you once again, and hope to we're definitely going to hear each other after we've finished with the shooting. So okay, so dear people of the world, this was Eszter, and she's from Budapest, Hungary. She shared her story with us, and thank you for your time, thank you for listening, thank you for staying with us. And if you want, you can follow us on social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can follow, share with your friends and families, and subscribe for our YouTube channel. So stay in good health, and see you in a week.